Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I'll be showing you how AI actually understands text. We'll go through how words get turned into numbers, why similar words end up close together, and understand how vector search powers tools like ChatGPT. Without further ado, here's the first thing you need to get comfortable with. AI can't read words the way we do. It needs numbers. So the very first step is converting every word into a list of numbers called a vector. So for example, I'm going to click on the word dog here. And notice that whenever I click on a dog, I get a list of numbers. Each number represents some dimension of meaning. So for example, this first number here could be related to living things. The second number here could be related to positive emotions. And like these first two numbers, every other number will capture a little piece of meaning. Now when I click on cat, notice how we receive similar numbers. This isn't a coincidence. It's just that the model learned that dogs and cats share a lot of meaning. Now let's try something totally different, like the word king. Here you can see that we receive completely different numbers, and that's because there's a different point in meaning space. Now, in reality, these vectors don't have 5 dimensions as you see here. Models like OpenAI's text embedding model actually produce over 1,000 numbers per word, and you can't visualize that directly, but the idea is the same. Every word, every sentence, and every paragraph is just a long list of numbers. And you can notice that we receive similar numbers when I click on queen, right? So for example, if we were to look at the 0.91 here, this is noticeably close to the 0.88 here. And if I go back to cat, you will notice that this 0.08 here is noticeably close to the 0.11 here. Now this is where it gets interesting. If you take all of the vectors and compress them down to 2 dimensions so we can actually see them, you end up receiving a map that looks like this right here. Look at what's happening. The animals, dog, cat, puppy, and kitten, are all grouped together over here, whereas the royalty words, king, queen, and prince, are over here. And code words like Python, JavaScript, and function are grouped here in green. And emotions are grouped over here. The model was never told to group these. It figured it out from reading billions of words that these concepts belong together. We can hover over any dot to see the word. This is the core idea behind embeddings. Meaning becomes geometry. If 2 words are semantically similar, so for example Python and JavaScript, their vectors will be close in space. If they're unrelated, so function and queen, they'll be far apart. There's a famous example in the original Word2Vec paper. If you take the vector for king and then subtract man and add woman, you get a vector extremely close to queen. The model learned gender as a direction in space without anyone explicitly programming that. That's how powerful vectors can get. Okay, so now that words and sentences are just points in space, finding similar content is just a math problem. Find the closest points, and then you have vector search. So let me type something in here like, how do dogs learn tricks? We'll go ahead and click search. Look at the results and their similarity scores. The top result is about training dogs, and it receives a high score of 99%. The one about making your pet happy scores decent too, and it scores a 63%. However, the getting started with Python for beginners result scores low. I asked a question about training dogs, which are animals, and while Python can mean the snake, which is why we see this result, the model understands context, which is why this score of a 49% is much lower than the first 2 results. In a document, I'd have to do text search and search for exactly what's present. However, with vector search, we're able to find things based on their meaning in vector spaces, even if the words aren't identical. Now let's try a different query. I want to learn coding, and then click search. Now the Python and JavaScript articles jump to the top, and the pet articles drop. We're using the same search engine, we're just getting different results because this query has a different meaning compared to our previous query. So where does this all actually get used in the real world? The biggest use case right now is something called RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. This is how you build AI apps that can answer questions from your own documents, like a company knowledge base or a PDF. And let me walk you through the pipeline step by step. So step 1 is that the user is going to ask a question. So here in our example, we have, what is the capital of France? Step 2 is that this question gets run through an embedding model and converted into a vector. Now it's a point in space. And step 3 is that we search a vector database. So tools like Pinecone, Weaviate, or even just Postgres with the PG vector extension right here will enable us to find the stored document chunks whose vectors are closest to the vector that we generate from the embedding model. Step 4 is that we'll retrieve and grab those top chunks. These are the most semantically relevant pieces of your documents, and they're not keyword matches like traditional text search, rather they're meaning matches. In step 5, we hand those chunks plus the original question to a large language model, and the model will now have actual context from your data and can give you a grounded, accurate answer. This is how tools like Notebook LM works, and this is how every chat with your PDF app works. It's embeddings plus vector search plus an LLM all chained together. And here you can see that after all of these steps, we receive an LLM response that tells us that the capital of France is Paris. And that's it. That's how AI understands text. Words become vectors. Vectors live in a shared space where meaning is dependent on distance, and you can search that space to build powerful AI applications. I hope this video was helpful, and hopefully you learned something new. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I apologize for some of the delays in uploads. I've been busy with my senior year of high school, but make sure you stay tuned for more uploads. With that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video.